Representative Nancy Nathanson kneels by the slow-moving water of the McKenzie River on a recent Friday. She looks at the shaded pools where salmon are now able to rest on their journey to spawn upstream. Clusters of large, dead trees poke from the surface of the river. The trees slow down the water, allowing particles to settle to the riverbed rather than wash downstream, where they could clog up EWEB's water filtration equipment. Just over a year ago, this spot on the river didn't exist. It's part of a large-scale restoration project EWEB and partners have undertaken to protect the water of the McKenzie River in the wake of the devastating 2020 Holiday Farm fire. Nathanson and her colleague, Representative Paul Holvey, toured the project at Finn Rock to see how much progress EWEB and our partners have made in just 2 years' time. EWEB works with watershed researchers, forest management agencies, and local nonprofits to identify threats to our water supply and public health, prioritize watershed restoration activities, and help with long-term community recovery. Finn Rock Reach is owned by the McKenzie River Trust, which has been doing restoration work here for several years. Forest Service Biologist Kate Myer describes Phase 1 of this project as making the river messy again.
This used to be a tremendously productive area for fish and wildlife, and we want to get some of that back. So it's really about giving the water space, bringing that water table up, letting the river move around and play out its natural processes, which is what these fish and wildlife have adapted to. We need those processes back in this system.
Here, trees burned in the Holiday Farm fire are placed in the river to slow it down and make shaded spots for salmon to rest. The salmon are coming back here to spawn, more every year. EWEB Water Resources Supervisor Susan Fricke says projects like these do more than restore wildlife habitat.
We're finding in these projects, because we're making the wetted width so large, that these are actually being like fire barriers. We have our project up at Deer Creek, and there was a fire up there. They actually used the Stage Zero project as a line to fight the fire from. So adding to that fire resiliency, climate change resiliency, drought resiliency, all of it is, what is more of these co-benefits that this can provide.
Nathanson says it's inspiring to see salmon and other native species coming back to Finn Rock.
And it's also especially encouraging to see that the partnerships and the collaboration was around a project, not around an organization. So the public funding is really maximized.
EWEB and the McKenzie River Trust are joined by the McKenzie Watershed Council and the U.S. Forest Service in this project. The groups are careful with their funding, whether it's from grants, customers, or tax dollars. Representative Holvey dedicated $325,000 to McKenzie watershed restoration from funds that each lawmaker was able to dispense, funding that filled a shortfall at a crucial moment for the project. He says it's heartwarming to see how the funding is making a difference.
And especially in the McKenzie, it is the water source for not just Eugene Springfield, but a tremendous amount of the water from the Willamette going into the Willamette system, especially in the summer, comes from the McKenzie. So it's just incredibly important we protect this asset as much as we can.
There's still more work to be done. Phase 2 of the project will include improvements to Quartz Creek and to gravel ponds on the Finn Rock property to help restore native pond turtle habitat. I'm Rachel McDonald with EWEB.